Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you guys to From Prison to Purpose. My name's Jimmy McGill, and I'm the host and the author of the book, From Prison to Purpose. I'm also a person in long-term recovery who has successfully re-entered society from incarceration. This is our kickoff episode of our first official podcast. And if you follow us on Facebook or on TikTok, then you're already familiar with so many of the men that we have at our recovery residence that are learning to successfully reenter society without returning to incarceration, without returning to substance use. And a lot of you already know who Brock Walker is, and that's going to be our guest today. Brock here shortly a while back, we had a competition on Facebook, 20,000 stars. He would shave his head live on Facebook. We hit the stars. Everybody was watching. They wanted to see him shave his head. And so we got a lot of requests about, let's hear more from Brock. So Brock is our initial kickoff today. Without any further ado, Brock Walker, welcome to the show, man.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brock Walker. I'm glad to be here. I'm grateful to be here and just happy to be here, y'all.
That's awesome. So where are you from?
I'm from Wynn, Arkansas.
Wynn?
Wynn, Arkansas, right below West Memphis, Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was life like growing up for Brock right then?
It was wild, man. I did what I want when I wanted. It was pretty bad. It was fun, though. It was wild. I just come and go as I pleased. You know what I'm saying? I really didn't have nobody to tell me what I couldn't do and can't do. You know what I'm saying? It just.
So you didn't have any like parent figures?
Oh, I did, but you know what I'm saying? My dad, he was the only one that worked, you know what I'm saying? And my mom was alcoholic. And so my dad, he was one taking care of four of us, you know what I'm saying? He was constantly at work. So
lack of supervision.
Yeah, it was lack of supervision, basically, because mom was drunk, you know what I'm saying? I just did what I wanted when I wanted.
Yeah. So how did drugs and alcohol come into the picture for you?
It's been around me my whole life. Ever since I was a kid, I remember, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, they drunk at my dad's house every day. It was nonstop drinking and doing drugs. And for the longest, I looked down on it. Like as a kid growing up, I was like, man, that's what I don't want to do. Is I don't want to look like that, you know?
Yeah. Became what you hated.
Yeah.
How old were you the first time you put something in you?
Any substance? I was like 9 years old, first joint I smoked.
Wow.
Yeah.
What'd that make you feel like?
I couldn't even get off the balcony. My older brother had to carry me off the balcony.
9 years old.
9 years
stoned.
old. Toasted, man.
Couldn't move a bit.
I was scared. But it was crazy. But I wanted that next buzz again. So I just continued to chase it.
Isn't it crazy how that's the effect drugs has on us, right? Like it will scare the crap out of you to the point where, okay, I know this can't be good for me. And then you can't wait to do it again.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
So what happens after your first joint at 9?
After that, I'm drinking, hanging out with my brother's older buddies, you know what I'm saying? And start drinking and next thing I know, we're partying all the time. And then slowly but surely, cocaine starts coming into play.
How old were you then?
I was 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from 9 to 14, it was just weed and alcohol?
Yeah, just weed and alcohol. And pills every now and then, you know what I'm saying?
But at 9?
No. From 9 to 14 was strictly weed.
Weed and
it went alcohol.
Yeah, weed and booze. Okay.
Yeah.
And so how'd the coke come into play at 14?
Man, one day I was sitting in my brother's room, man, and I was sitting there and a couple of guys were rolling like 3 or 4 different blunts. And one of them was over saying Primo, he was putting white powder all over. I was like, what the hell, dude? You smashing a pill down on that? He's like, no, man, you just wait. And my old brother was like, no, man, he's not hitting that. And I was like, man, let me hit it once, twice. And I hit it, man. I remember it was a horrible taste, but I was like,
off to the races.
Off to the races it went. And
chasing the moon rocks.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. It was wild.
So how old were you when you had your first interaction with law enforcement?
8 or 9.
What?
Yes, I'm not playing, man.
What happened at 8 or 9 years old for you to get intervened by the law enforcement?
What did I not do? You know what I'm saying? In a little small town that I grew up in, there was nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying I was running around looking for trouble for the law to chase me around, but it seemed like everything you do, you get in trouble over. But I remember I was walking after school one day, we was going to the football coaches, and I was going to go get the sign-up papers. Well, I was walking with the boy that was going down there with me, new kid in the town. And next thing I know, he starts yanking mail out of damn mailboxes and just start strolling it down the highway. I'm like, what the hell? And I was really innocent on this. I really didn't have no part in it. But about 3 o'clock at after, about 4:30 that afternoon, here the police is looking for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm the town mess up, and there was always out to get me.
At 8 and 9 years old.
Yeah.
You're the town mess up at 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So you really didn't have any supervision as a kid.
No.
That's amazing that you've lived this long now, bro.
Yeah. I mean, it's God's will, not mine. You know what I'm saying?
What happened when the cops came about the mail?
They ended up taking me into custody for like 6 hours, and then my dad come and got me, and I was in trouble. You know what I'm saying? My dad, he was really strict on the part of, wanting you to stay out of trouble and shit like that. And I was explaining to him, and it was not my fault, but it is what it is. See, the police have been out to get my dad since I was even coming up. You know what I'm saying? Because my dad was somewhat a slinger. You know what I'm saying?
So dad was involved in drugs and alcohol too.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay. But he was, you know what I'm saying? He did his own thing. But the police were always out to get him because at the age of 19 for my dad, he got busted with a pound of marijuana selling to undercover.
Yeah.
And after that, it was off of the races. They was just trying to bust him with actual
every chance
they got. They was trying to get him, and which we just, I guess, carried on to the last name right there in that little small town, and they was just trying to knock us off.
Do you ever feel like the cops kind of like used you and your brothers as a tool to get to your dad?
Yeah, definitely. Everyone's definitely. Yeah.
How's that make you feel looking back?
It makes me feel like I let them win because I played into their game. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I showed them what they thought I was. I didn't play against it, like proving them wrong and showing them that I wasn't really that mess up. But I kept on messing up on other things. It really showed that I was accountable to do what they was accusing me of. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So did you ever experience like any childhood trauma, like any traumatic events?
I mean, I seen fights every day, but not between my parents. Like just people that would come over to my dad's house and drink and stuff like that. They was always getting their ass whooped. It was always a fight going down. So I grew up in that.
So to recap, kind of what I'm hearing you say is you were raised in an atmosphere of alcohol and addiction and violence. Law enforcement was interacting, trying to constantly hold your family accountable.
Yeah.
And so you're following suit with your parents and you're getting in trouble at an early age.
I've been on probation. I was on probation at the age of 9.
9 years old on probation.
Yeah.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah.
But it's pretty common too. A lot of kids where we come from, that's their upbringing. We all have similar stories.
Yeah. And then I broke into the bar when I was like 10.
A bar?
Yeah.
What'd you get out of there?
Bunch of cigarettes, a couple cases of cartons of cigarettes, bunch of 30 packs. And they already knew that we was going to rob it, so they had a couple of burnt $100 bills in the cash register. So we didn't really get no money, but just looked dumb, really.
So did you get in trouble for that?
Yeah, I got put on probation until I was 18 years old.
And this was
10 years old, yeah.
So how old were you the first time you went to prison?
I was 29. I made it, you know what I'm saying?
You say, dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you go to prison for?
For a second-degree battery and escape charge. But what violated it was I got caught with a firearm and another second-degree battery.
So you were on probation for battery and escape?
Yeah.
Where'd you escape from?
The county jail. I kicked the door open, and they gave me an escape charge for it, man.
Did you run out of the jail?
No, man. I was so messed up and out of it, like from a car wreck that even got me there. I didn't even know why I was in jail. And I kept trying to kick on the door and ask these cops, why the hell am I here? And they wouldn't tell me nothing. And I'm panicking. I'm kicking on the door. Why am I here? I got a family. And everything else out there. What's going on? And they just keep telling me to run. And I'm mad. I kicked the door open, man.
You kicked the iron cell door open?
Yeah. It's a holding cell. It was like but it wasn't like the bars, but it was like a steel door. But it was like,
I've been in a holding cell.
Yeah. I kicked it open and they went to town on me.
Yeah, they whooped you.
They whooped me bad. I fractured my face.
They don't want to
talk about that though. Look, after that, Mr. Jimmy, they didn't even have the footage. They didn't even want to show the footage.
Of course not. They whooped you.
Yeah.
They whooped you. Yeah. It's pretty common too. I've seen.
And then I got put on probation for it.
Yeah. They're going to do you bad and then hold you accountable for it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I've also seen a lot of times where you get whooped in a holding cell and then they'll dismiss the charge later on, 9 or 10 months. You ever see that?
Yeah, ride the nine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they call it down that way. Ride the nine.
Ride the 9.
Ride the nine.
Why do they call it that?
Because if you can ride it out 9 months, sitting there waiting them out, normally they'll throw it out.
If they whooped you.
If they whooped you. Yeah.
That's crazy. They whoop you so much that they got a nickname for swapping the charges for this butt whooping you finna get.
Yeah. Ride the nine.
I never got lucky enough to ride the 9. I got whooped and went to prison.
I did too. I got whooped and sent to prison.
So, okay, you get this bogus escape. How's that make you feel right now, knowing they hit you with an escape charge and you didn't go?
I would have never even experienced but in a lot of ways, I'm grateful for what I've been through and come to, because if I wouldn't have went to prison when I did it, I would have still been out doing the way I was doing it and the things I was doing. But at the same time, I would have messed up somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? I would have did something else to cause me to go to prison, because the life I was living, there was no good outcome out of it. Selling drugs, doing whatever I could do to get by. You know what I'm saying? And that was not honest living. It was not doing anything, but I was trying to avoid a 40-hour week.
Yeah, it was so hard for us. We worked so hard to stay high, to not work.
Yeah.
It ends up being harder work trying to avoid work.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay. So what was it like when you went to prison?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. I did a lot of county time my whole life, and ever since I was 18, and I knew what it was like to be locked up. But when I was going to prison, I was nervous. I mean, just petrified, man, because I wasn't very big at all. I'm a monster compared to the size I am then. You know what I'm saying? I was like 120 pounds wet, geeked out of my mind. You know what I'm saying? When I got locked up, and I was just like, man, dude, they're gonna be bad when I get down there. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be a lot of, I've heard stories, you know what I'm saying? And I was thinking to myself, man, I'm going to stick to myself. I'm going to ride it out. You know what I'm saying? Mind my own business, respect. Well, just basically the same way I am to everybody. But there's always that person that just tries you, you know what I'm saying? And that's anywhere you go. So, but I was nervous, man, super nervous. And like when I made it to Malvern, I let it wear off a little bit. I wasn't as nervous no more because I went through diagnostic and stuff like that. But when we got them brown bags and they said I was going to Bricky's, I was like, gosh, dang, man, this is one of the worst penitentiaries in the state of Arkansas. That and Varner.
Yeah, Bricky's bad. I think Bricky's is probably worse than Varner at this point.
Yeah, at this point they say it is.
Yeah.
They got Friday night fights going on down there every weekend. You know
What's Friday night fights?
Friday night fights is, man, where they get your ID badge and they stick it on the table, and it's like 50, 60 guys in barracks, and they grab all these ID badges and they stick them on the table and they just shuffle them. And they pull two and them two fight. And they just keep on pulling, you know what I'm saying? Bored.
They just in there bored trying to pass time. Did your ID ever get pulled?
Oh, yeah, a couple times.
For real?
Yeah. And you ain't got no choice. You got to fight. You know what I'm saying?
They going to stomp you?
Stomp you out. And if it's the biggest dude in the barracks or the smallest dude in the barracks, you're fighting.
Yeah. See, when I left, when I was doing time, they weren't doing that. You know what I mean? Like, time was easier. It was different. They kill you. Yeah. You know what I mean? They would assume do something real serious to you. They're not going to do no arguing with you. No, back then it was different. You know what I mean? And you might get a year or two tacked onto your time, but you were only doing 2 months on a year, and you could come home, and there weren't any real what you're describing is kind of like a very barbaric prison setting.
Pretty wild. Hey, there was people in there mad because the other guy wouldn't sell his stuff, like his deuce. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean it's deuce?
Chemicals. It's K2, man. It's sprayed.
Spice.
Yeah, spice sprayed on paper, and they send it through on legal mail. And that's how they get it in there. And they selling like little strips like that big, not even very big at all, $5 a stick. That stick will
spin your noggin,
man. But
what's it do to you?
It's like an out-of-body experience, you know. It
smoking the paper?
Yeah, smoking the paper. It'll tear you up. And I got lost in that for a while. I was smoking deuce every day, man.
So you're in prison still using drugs?
Yes.
You couldn't get clean there either?
Could not get clean there either.
So can you tell me some stories about deuce, about the K2?
Yeah, I can tell you a few stories, man. I seen one guy, man, one of my buddies, he's always at the door talking about, if I ain't flopping, I ain't shopping. I was like, yeah. I was like, dang. Well, one day.
What's that mean? If I'm not flopping, I'm not.
He wants to be on the floor throwing up, swimming in it. Otherwise, if it ain't no good, he ain't buying it. Is what he's saying.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty much saying, if I ain't almost dead, I don't want it. You know. Well, anyways, he gets his stuff one day, man. He's sitting up there, and he puts some toothsticks in there and fires it up. Hits that dude a couple times. Next thing I know, man, he's face first on the floor, trying to get up, swimming in his throw up. He's just throwing up everywhere. I was like, gosh, now he's wild, man. I didn't even want to hit that stick after that. I'm straight,
You don't want that.
I don't want that. That's that drop dead Fred. I'm good. I'm good.
What else have you seen on K2?
But man,
Because I hear a lot of stories about K2.
I mean, okay, I seen one night when that guy didn't, it was an older black guy, he didn't want to sell his dues. And these young black guys were like, no, you're going to come off somewhere, you're going to sell something's going to happen. Well, when the lights out, they went up there and they got a lock. And they come down there and they hit dude in the head with the lock right in the corner of the eye and made his eye pop out on the side of his head. Scared me to death,
All for drugs.
All for some chemical spray that lasted about 10 minutes.
Where are the guards at during all this?
Right there in the booth, They don't, the guard, I mean,
they don't want to get hit with the lock.
No, the inmates run that prison. That same exact prison I was at, Esther unit. I mean, not Esther unit, but Miss Esther is the one that she died there in barracks, the same barracks I was at. She got stabbed over a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brickies is rough, man.
Yeah. So I was a nervous wreck, you know what I'm saying? Super nervous. First time down.
Did you see any sexual misconduct while you were there?
No, I really wasn't really going on in our barracks. I mean, you heard about guys being, funny bunny, whatever, but we didn't.
Funny bunny.
Yeah, we didn't really see it going on in our barracks.
Were you scared that was going to happen?
The first month or so, I was worried about it, but once I realized they pretty much weeded themselves out, they wanted it. If they was going to get messed around like that, they pretty much did it to themselves because that's what they wanted. They're not taking ass down there; they're giving ass away nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your prison experience sounds like it was a lot of drug use and a lot of boredom.
Yeah, a lot of boredom, man. A lot of boredom.
You don't feel like there was any rehabilitation at all?
Yeah. When I went to the hole,
you felt like you got rehabilitated.
I sat in the hole for 46. My last 46 days, I was in the hole, man, and because I got jumped and overdosed. You know what I'm saying? And which was crazy because it was like, "Hey man, you gonna share that stick?" I was like, "Man, I just spent $6 on the stick." You know what I'm saying? Ain't no more deuce in the barracks. I'm about to smoke this stick with my homeboy. And they got all mad about it. Well, when I got to go in there and go to the shower, put my stuff down and get in the shower, dude, wow, hit me. Well, next thing I know, I'm grabbing dude. I'm on the floor, wrestling with him. And another dude starts coming over. He kicks me in the head a couple times. Well, the other white boys, they get it broke up. But the guards, they come in there, and I got blood on my face. So they automatically, slam me in a hole. And I didn't end up losing my class over it because when they ran the cameras, they said that I didn't, I didn't start nothing like that. So they ended up putting me in the hole for 46 days. And I sat in the hole for it was 46 days. And the whole time I was in there, man, I was the first week or two, I was coming off that douche, man, hating it. And after that, I just started, man, I was bored. I was like, man, ain't nothing to do, but I had my Bible in there. So I just went to read my Bible, man, and just asking, please give me a sign. Please don't let me knock my class off, please. Because it was like right at the window of me getting ready to go home. I had like 2 more weeks left or something. And every day I was asking the guards. Every day they come bring my tray. I was like, man, am I supposed to go home? Can I get a phone call? Can I call my pro officer? Can I call my dad? Did my pro plan go through? Or, because they didn't ever tell me if a pro plan was accepted or not. I was just nervous about all that. You know what I'm saying? And finally, like I said, I just stayed in that word, man. And then God, he slowly kept answering my questions. Like I'd ask him to myself and just like, man, give me a sign. Am I going home? And there was a guy, it was in a hole over beside me, and his name was Billy Flanagan. Never get it. He was a real good guy. And and Billy had time on the phone, and I kept having him, his mama was calling my dad. And finally one day, my dad ain't never answered the phone, man. And my dad finally answered the phone. He's like, the pro officer come by here, your pro plan's approved, bro. Quit tripping. I'm like, oh, man, thank God. God, he's answering all my prayers I'm asking him, man, because I really want to go home and sick of it. And I was tired of it because it wouldn't, to me, I felt like it wasn't for me. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't sit there and imagine doing years there. I could not. You know what I'm saying? I would lose it.
So, but when you got home, did you stay home?
Yeah, I stayed home, but I was right back in the gutter.
So you were in a hurry to get home.
For nothing. I did good for the first 3 months, like far as like not really getting back in that same lifestyle, staying away from the people that I was messing with. And I get my welding job back, and I'm welding. And then at the time, my older brother, he's still using, and he's getting high and stuff like that. And he come over at my part and was getting high. And I was like, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, heck, man, I guess I go. And I was tired a couple of days, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and do me a little line. And that little line turned into smoking every day. And next thing I know, I'm like, man, where y'all getting y'all stuff at? You know what I'm saying? How much y'all paying for it? That's the question I want to know. And I was like, oh, that's way too much. You know what I'm saying? You're spending $70 a ball. That's way too much. I'm not going for that. I'm not going to spend my hard-earned money like on $75 a 8-ball when I can go to the source, get it bigger, and then feed it out to y'all and make my money back. And I'm not even spending nothing on it, but I'm still getting high for free. So that's what my addiction, I mean, it's what my mentality turned into was.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I'm at work selling dope, trying to work a 40-hour week and trying to sell my dope. And yeah, and here I am today, you know what I'm saying? Like far as, but I went to jail, of course. And
yeah. So when you were, I want to back up just a little bit. When you were in prison, was it very racial?
I mean, it wasn't that bad. I mean, everybody's own kind stuck to their own kind. You know what I'm saying? Like the blacks were the blacks and the whites were the whites and Mexicans were the Mexicans.
Yeah. Is everybody gang affiliated down there now?
Basically, yeah. Basically.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So you go to prison, you can't stop using, you get jumped over. You almost every fight that you just sat here and talked about was drug induced.
Yeah.
Right. It's crazy. You're going to prison and you're still using and getting worse.
Yeah.
Come home, you can't get clean. So what happened? How did you end up over here? Right? Like what's the story? You're out of prison. You survived. You survived the jungle, the swimming in the puke, all that stuff, and now you're free. You're in the street. How do you end up over here at Next Step Recovery Housing? Like, how do you tell them how you get here and what your life is starting to look like now that you're in recovery?
Well, okay. How I got here was they did a parole search on me right there at my house, and they found my old lady's pistol, which is her. She's not a felon, nothing, and she owns the house. Well, they tried to hit me with a simultaneous drugs and firearms because they found a bong and a pistol in the house, and she owns the house. But anyways, they took me to jail, and they had me on was it like 10,000 or 15,000 cash, and my old lady's about to bomb me out, 15,000 cash. She come over try to bomb me out, and they say, well, he's got a parole hold now. So I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, facing man, I'm like, well, I'm going back to prison. You know what I'm saying? On a gun charge on top of that. I said, man, I was just asking, please, God, just figure out something for me. And I'm getting a hold of Brother Wayne. I'm doing everything I need, trying to do, you know what I'm saying? And they can't find nowhere for me to get into because none of it's ACC approved. And I had to be in an ACC approved place. And I'm just asking every day, man, please, I'm blowing my daddy up. I'm blowing my daddy's girlfriend up. I'm blowing everybody up. I'm getting on the nerves. I'm blowing up so bad because I really wanted to help, man. And finally, I get a hold of my dad one day, and he tells me, he said, Brock, I got some good news for you. I said, what's up, man? He said, Wayne Wooten is getting you in a place. I said, well, where at? Where am I going? He's like, well, they're saying after you do your parole hold in your 90 days, they're going to let you get into the next step. I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. I ended up doing the 90 days, and they sent me to Mississippi County. And when they sent me to Mississippi County, I'm doing good, man. I made trustee. And there were no drugs in there or nothing all the way up to the last 2 weeks of me being in this jail. A girl comes in there, and me and my buddy, we're the cooks in the place. And she comes in, she's sitting up there on the front on the bench, and she's fidgeting back and forth, stuff like that. I was like, what the heck? And she acts like she's cold. Well, he goes over and gets her a blanket, and she wraps up in a blanket. You see her fidgeting around. Well, then she just throws the blanket back on the floor. Well, when she does, he goes over and gets a blanket, and we go in the laundry room. He throws a blanket out, and there's a half ounce of dope in it. I'm like, gosh, here I am about 5 days to get released from Mississippi County to come to next step. I'm like, gosh, dang, man.
You're always in the atmosphere of drugs, bro. Your whole story.
Yeah.
You can't get away from the sack, man.
It's crazy, man. And I was like, what the heck? And it was crazy about it. I was like, man, I was telling myself, I said, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? I can't because it's going to mess everything up for me, you know? Even though that I know in my head, I'm saying, man, I'm going to rehab. The whole reason, the part of me going there is to get clean. So why I got to show up clean? That's what I'm thinking in my head. That's that dumb addict thinking I got going on. And I'm like, well, maybe if I do something now, I can get clean by the time I get out. Man, here I am. Next thing I know, I'm in this jail in Orange. In the cook, but I'm also in the bathroom smoking dope on the full.
Yeah.
Crazy. And
Right before you come home.
right before, like 2 days before I got out. Not even,
So you were high when you left jail.
I left jail high. Yeah, man. It's crazy.
So for the viewers who don't know, Brock was supposed to leave jail and be here by a specific time. And Brock got out. What day was it? You got out on like a Monday and you didn't get here till Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, sir. And we go in there to test, and Brock, he's got some fake pee, but we do observational tests. So I'm watching Brock, and he can't get the fake pee in the cup. So he's forced to provide a real sample of urine, and he burns the bottom out of the cup. I mean, fresh out of jail, test hotter. I mean, hotter than a hooker with a stolen pistol who been in the heat till the feet was swollen and blistered like you were one.
Yeah.
And so you were high from jail from that. You brought the dope home from jail.
Yeah.
Look at you, Brock.
I hate it. And I hate it, man, because I just wish, because I know better. You know what I'm saying? I know what all that brings to me. I know there's no good outcome out of it.
So what was the outcome of you failing your initial drug test to get in here?
It was bad because it almost got me all the way booted off this, next step. It got me, I had to go to another rehab.
For how long?
I sat there for 30 days.
Yeah.
And then again, when I got out of there, I had called Wayne and said, man, please get me in somewhere. And he's like, well, I'm calling Jimmy. I was like, man, I don't know if he's going to let me get in. He's like, I'm going to call him. And then he called me back. He was like, Mr. Jimmy's going to let you come back, but you got to 3 o'clock to get there or don't even show up. I was like, well, I'm on the way.
Yeah.
I'm on the way. And I told Mr. Jimmy, I still tell him every day. Every time I see him, I tell him, man, thank you, Mr. Jimmy, for giving me this second chance, because I really needed it.
Well, that second chance has actually turned into like a 30-second chance at this point. But we love him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We do. We love you here, Brock. And
yeah.
So how long ago was it that you got here? How long have you been here now?
I've been here right at 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been clean 5.
You ever had that much recovery before? Yeah. Based on what you just told me, you've been high since you was 9 years old, bro.
Yeah.
And so how old are you now?
I'm 31.
And for the first time in your life, you've got 5 months without getting high.
At all.
You realize that's a miracle.
Yeah.
That every bit of that is a gift.
I got chill bumps talking about it.
You should. Like, you're healthy. You're working out. You're working. You got a full-time job. You want to talk to us about your job?
Man, I got a full-time job. I work at Tyson. I cut shoulders. But also, I went and did an interview Friday for a welding test, and I got that job. But I do my 2-week notice at Tyson. And what's crazy about it, they love me at Tyson. You know what I'm saying? And I'm great on the line. They love me cutting shoulders because I'm good at it, fast. And when I'm there, when I show up, I show out.
Yeah. So what does your life look like right now, sober?
I wouldn't trade it for nothing. I wouldn't trade it for nothing. I don't give a dang how much money somebody promised me out there to do or anything to give up what I got now.
What do you got now?
I'm sober. I got my ex-wife let me see my kids again. I ain't had my kids in my life since 2017.
That's nuts, man.
And they're about to let me, and they're about to bring them up here and let me see them. You know what I'm saying?
That's such a huge hit for you, bro.
I mean, it's all I needed. That's what I've been dying to have, is because that's been a hole in my heart forever. You know what I'm saying? And I need that back. I really do need it back. And I got my license back the other day.
How long has it been since you had a driver's license?
Well, before I got them back, right when I got out of prison, it's been like 6 years. And I only had them for like, you know what I'm saying?
Dang, Brock.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got family reunification.
Yeah.
Driver's license, employment.
Yeah.
How does it feel being sober?
Feels great, man. I love it. And what's crazy about it is, like, the first 2 to 3 months, I questioned everything. Like, oh man, is it really going to be okay? Or am I going to think about it ever again? Or am I going to have dreams, like nightmares about it? But now it's like, I can't even picture myself using again. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to use again because I don't want to start over. Yeah. I done made it this far. Why start over?
Well, there ain't no guarantee you can start over. You may die if you use it.
Yeah, that too. But because nowadays, I mean, they got that stuff cut with fentanyl and
Fitty and everything.
Yeah, it's good. No.
So what's your favorite part about recovery? If you could highlight your most favorite thing.
Like just the herd. My favorite thing about Next Step is the herd, the
community,
the guys that we got here, man. Like John, Bobby, just all around Ben. You know, we got some great guys here, man.
And we do.
And it'd break my heart to see any of them, you know, get kicked out. Because I'd be like, dang, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I look forward to coming home off work and talking crap to Bobby and John. I do, man. They make my day.
We're going to have to get Bobby on the show. Bobby spent his entire life in the joint. He's like 15 trips to prison. And
scorched.
Yeah, he's toasted. We put Bobby's over the chores one day, and he jumps out the shower. I mean, manhood swinging. I ain't gonna tell you punks, but once do your chores. And I'm like, Bobby.
Yeah, they're tough. Yeah, Bobby them tough.
Yeah, he's hardcore, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he scares. That's
when he
crazy.
smokes that cigarette and shakes his foot. Smokes that cigarette and shakes his foot. It's crazy.
But Bobby's been here for a long time too, and this is his first time ever having a life worth living. And we actually got him committed to Next Step. He was supposed to go back to prison for 6 years last month.
That's probably what's going to. I'm probably going to be getting the same thing.
We're hoping that you do for sure. We're going to go to court with you. We're going to fight for you. We're working with your parole officer. And
yeah.
I mean, the stuff you just sat here and told, I mean, how could anybody make a decision that's going to affect the trajectory of Brock Walker's life and not take into consideration that you have been surrounded by drugs since you were 9 years old? You had no parents that were actively mentoring you, teaching you right from wrong. You were neglected, Brock. That's abuse.
But and I looked at it like that today. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't trade my dad for nothing.
Right.
My dad's my best friend. He's my road dog. You know, he gives me advice. He's super smart, valedictorian of his class. But it was just the fact that he couldn't physically be there, because if he was physically there all the time, how would the lights get paid? How would the water get paid? You know what I'm saying? He had to go out there and work.
Yeah. My dad ended up being my best friend too.
My best friend.
And he, you know, I used with him. He was the most violent man I ever knew in my life. And
my dad ain't violent until you make him violent. And he's tough. You know what I'm saying? He's tough.
He did what he wanted. He spent his life in and out of the joint too. But like the last time I was in prison when he was alive, he never missed a visit. Now, he brought me 8 balls, cell phones, cigarettes, all the stuff I shouldn't have. But that was his way of showing me that he loved me. Yeah. You know what I mean? That was all he knew. And at 60-something years old, my dad, when he died, he still had his drug of choice on his body. He still had a bag of meth, you know?
Crazy.
So is there anything you want to leave the viewers with, the listeners?
Man, anybody out there fighting addiction, there is hope. You know what I'm saying? Because of some of the guys here that we're doing it, and I know anybody can do it because we're some of the messed up guys there is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
for sure. It seems like Next Step really gets all the guys that the rest of society says is unreachable.
We're like the bad seed that landed in the perfect place, though. It's crazy. You know,
it's nuts because the worst of the worst become the champions of champions. Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, because this program, it ain't just a program. You know what I'm saying? We're a family, and not only that, we got 3 DAT classes a week. We got to make 3 NA classes a week. We got Ron's meeting, and we got to work 12 steps, and we go to church on every Sunday.
Yeah, it's a program for sure.
It's an all the way program, and so
it's hard here. I mean, it's hard work.
I love it here. I'm not complaining about it at all. I mean, this is what we need. You know what I'm saying? We need responsibility like that because that's the way it is. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Well, Brock, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your story, man, and for busting yourself open and sharing your childhood trauma and your experiences in prison. And so what's your goal? What does Brock walking in his purpose, going from prison to purpose, look like?
Well, you're listening to him, Jimmy McGill. You know what I'm saying? I want to be something like Jimmy McGill's got going on, because he's a big impact on a lot of people, not just the people at Next Step, but like all over the world. You know what I'm saying? He's got thousands and thousands of views, but you got a big impact because you've been to prison 6 times. You know, and if you can do it, who can't do it? You know what I'm saying?
It's facts.
And if I know if I come back to my hometown and show that, hey, I'm a pillar to community, you know what I'm saying? I'm good. I'm actually positive, you know, in the community, doing good things, you know what I'm saying? Besides robbing them and this, that, and other, actually, you know, doing stuff for the community.
Yeah, giving back.
I know if I can do that, and to show a lot of people that I was in my addiction with, there is hope, because if Brock can do it, anybody can do it.
That's facts, man.
Yeah.
That's facts. Well, thank you, Brock. We're glad you're here. You guys don't forget to go follow our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Prison to Purpose, Instagram, TikTok, all the things. And make sure you leave in the comments which guy you want to hear from next. And we'll see you next week.
You've been listening to From Prison to Purpose with Jimmy McGill. Please subscribe on any of the major podcasting platforms and on YouTube at Prison to Purpose. This podcast is produced by Ty King with American Business Engine and executive producer Jimmy McGill. For more information, visit us at jimmymcgill.org.